This exercise might seem familiar, and that's because we used this very same topology in our standard ACLs exercise, and we also have the very same tasks, but this time, instead of configuring standard access lists, we'll be configuring extended access lists. Let's start from task 1. Task 1 says ban PC1 from accessing the internet router. Previously, when we had to only use standard access lists, we configured an access list on the internet router on this interface right here. This time, since we are able to specify both the source and the destination, we can apply this access list closer to the source. Let's do that, and I will explain this as we go. Enable password is Quince, as mentioned here. Configure terminal, and then we can start creating our list. The only difference here is that we will use this keyword extended instead of word standard, and we will give a number higher than 100 for our list because that's the range used for extended access lists. Now we want to specify from where to where we are denying the communication. We want to say deny, and it doesn't specify here which protocol we want to ban, so we're going to assume they want us to ban everything, so the entire communication. We don't want them to communicate at all. In that case, we should use IP and then say host and then list the source. The source in this case is PC1. Address of PC1 is 10.0.0.5, and then we need to list IP address of router internet, and router internet's IP here is 173.22.1.2, I believe. Let's check. Yep, that's right. By the way, I am using this keyword host on the router as well, even though this is a router and not an end user PC that you would normally call a host. We use this keyword to mark a single IP address to be either denied or allowed. Next, because we want all other communication to continue, we're going to say permit IP, and this time to permit all other communication, you don't only say any once, because you need to specify both the source and the destination in extended access list. So we actually need to say permit IP any. Then we're going to exit from our access list, and we need to figure out on which interface to apply this access list. Unlike with standard access lists, where if you apply an access list to a wrong interface, you could cut off pretty much all communication. So if we were to apply a standard access list similar to this one on this interface right here, we would basically cut off this local area network from the rest of the network and from this part of the network as well. But since now we are using an extended access list and we have specified the destination, only these packets will be blocked. So only the packets with source IP 10.0.0.5 and destination IP 173.22.1.2, only those packets will be dropped. Everything else will be allowed to go through. So this time we are free to apply this access list to the interface closest to the source. I'm going to open that interface. It's Fast Ethernet 0/0 and then say IP access group 101 in. Exit. And let's test if it works. I'm going to try to ping from PC1 to router 1, and this time this is successful because in this packet Source IP is 10.0.0.5 and destination IP is 10.0.0.1. We don't have an access list for that, so we're all good. When we try to ping from PC1 to router internet, now we have a failed ping. Let's check if ping has failed due to the access list or something else, right? So we want to open this packet. And yes, the packet matches the criteria, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Next task is to ban all communication between networks 12.0.0.0 and 14.0.0.0 in both directions. All right, this will obviously be configured on router 1, but this time I'm going to create only one access list instead of two. So let's start with that. We're going to say IP access list extended 102 and then deny 12.0.0.0 wildcard /24 and then 14.0.0.0 and then 0.0.0.255. Yes, I forgot to mention the protocol we want to block. So we want to block all communication. This time this task is specific, so it says ban all communication. And then I want to deny this communication in the other direction, so from 14 to 12. We must not forget to add that permit rule, and as already explained, it's going to be permit IP any. Now let's apply this access list. First, I'm going to apply it to Fast Ethernet 0/1. So let's open that interface. And I'm going to say IP access group 102 in. What I want this list to do on this interface and on this direction is I want it to recognize packets going from network 12 to 14 and then drop those packets. Obviously, none of the packets coming from this network are going to match this rule, so this rule is relevant in our other interface or on our other interface. Okay, interface Fast Ethernet 1/1. That's the interface where network 14.0.0.0 is connected. So we're going to pretty much use the same command, IP access group 102 in. And let's see what happens when we try to ping between these two networks. We have a failed ping. Let's make sure that these PCs can communicate to other networks, the ones that are not denied. Yep, all good. Now on to our third task, which is kind of interesting, not because of the command. The command is going to be deny TCP, source, destination, and then equal telnet. Okay, that's what I showed in the explanation video. But where are we going to apply that access list? This is for PC2. This is PC2. PC2 connects to router 1 through Fast Ethernet 0/1. Okay, it does use that telnet line, virtual teletype line, one of those 16 lines that we mentioned in our standard access lists exercise. But that traffic goes through this interface. So we would actually be applying that access list on this interface, but we already have an access list there. We have this ACL 102. So what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to insert a rule in between this rule and this rule. There is a way, whoops, no. Okay, there is a way to do that. We're going to open router 1 and we're going to say do show, oh, I can't use tab because I'm in the global configuration mode. and it shows all of our access lists, all 2 of them, and then it shows the rules with these numbers right here. So the way you insert a rule is you use a number that is between the rule, the first rule okay, so I want to insert a rule somewhere in between 20 and 30. So I need to use a number between 20 and 30. Okay, hope you got that now. All right, so what I want to do is I want to open this access list 102. I need to get into this extended access list configuration mode. And I'm going to do that by typing in IP access list extended 102. So I'm reopening that access list. Okay, I'm not creating a new one because an access list with the number of 102 already exists. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to type in 25. You can type in any number between 20 and 30 in order to insert that rule successfully. So I'm going to say 25, deny TCP, because Telnet uses TCP. And then I need to list the source IP. I'm blocking 12.0.0.5 from accessing 12.0.0.1. Now, this PC is actually going to be able to access router 1 through any of its other IP addresses, but that is a different topic right now. We just want to do this as an example, right? So source, destination, and then specific TCP protocol that we want to block, and I'm going to say telnet, and that's it. And then I'm going to exit the access list. I'm going to issue this do show access list command again to make sure that my newly inserted rule is here. Also, by using this command, you can see how many matches this access list had. Okay, now let's try to telnet. Actually, I'm going to try to telnet from PC3 just to check if it's working at all. I'm going to say telnet 12.0.0.1 and it's working. I'm going to say quince. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. By the way, to get out of this loop, you press at the same time left control key on your keyboard, shift, and number 6. All right, what I wanted to do is I wanted to type in enable and then quince. And now I'm in the router, show run, and I can look at all the configuration. While we're here, we can see that we can't see those numbers, right? So we can't see that 10, 20, 25, 30 here. We can only see the basic commands and the number of the access list. Okay, so telnet is working from PC3. Let's try from PC2. No, wrong one, command prompt, telnet 12.0.0.1. And connection timed out, remote host not responding. Let me see if I can see that in the simulation mode. I'm going to repeat the telnet command, and then we're going to see a TCP packet go off to router 1, and then the packet matches the criteria, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's it. I hope you found that useful. We will be using access lists further in this course, so that's why I didn't want to overdo it in these lessons, because we will have the opportunity to repeat all of this later. Okay, see you in the next lesson.